Spritzer kind of covers it all, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was swimming yesterday with them, so you just keep them entertained, and you're gonna, yeah,
Nice.
That's creativity.
We were talking at the top of the show, pre-top of the show, how businesses are almost like children, that they have the different stages, and there's probably different healthy life balances when you're raising your kids, and you've got the parents, and then you've got the children. So you've got employer-employee relationships and different elements that all happen there as well. Yeah. Well, great. Well, we are in the matrix behind the scenes, connecting all the dots so that Facebook is going to be live here. And we've got people from all around the world. Somebody who's even here in the darkness, Mark, with your light coming through. So we appreciate that.
No problem. That's fine.
Okay, so we are now officially live. Welcome everybody to the ScaleUp Academy's podcast, which is called the ScaleUp Heroes. And we are online today with some legitimate heroes. And like true heroes, you have, fighting crime and saving the world. And then heroes have to relax at the same time. Like, you can't always be Superman. Rocket Man's gotta oil up his joints every once in a while. So rightly so, we are talking today about how to manage your business scaling and your life's relaxation. So how do you manage that work-life balance? And we've got people from around the world to discuss. Mike is here. He is in London. He's the CEO of ScaleUp Academy, which puts this on. And if you haven't checked out scaleupacademy.io, I suggest you do that. Then we've got Mark Coate, who's the CEO and co-founder at Supahands in Kuala Lumpur, and he is with us in the nighttime, so we appreciate that. We got Jamie Ward, CEO and co-founder of PayAsUGym, just like Pay As You Go, but PayAsUGym also coming to us from London. And then we've got James Isilay from Cognism, and he's the CEO there and out of Zurich. So today we're going to be a rapid fire, kind of a fireside chat with a whole bunch of people talking about the work-life balance, because when you're a startup, things are scrappy and your entire life is your business. And then once you start to scale up, you have to get even scrappier and realize that true businessmen and women have to take time for themselves as well. It's not about working harder. It might be about working smarter. Whether you go fishing or cycling or hanging out with your children, we're going to talk today about that mix. So, Mr. Mike, I will pass it over to you so everyone can introduce themselves a little bit, and we will rock and roll.
Thank you so much for the amazing introduction. And just a quick note to say to Ryan that we are super proud of having you as the host. So it's time to congratulate you for the great job that you've been doing. So thank you so much and congratulations. And thank you so much for our panelists today. Really impressive track records, and what you are doing is really amazing. And I'm really honored to moderate this panel. So this topic was suggested and was a challenge from the Cognism team, and that James leads. And the goal is to discuss how do we align life and business goals, and how important it is in terms of performance at the end of the day. So is this a philosophical question, or is this something that really drives results to your business? So first, let's start with short intros to get to know more about who are our panelists today. So Jamie, would you like to start by introducing yourself and what PayAsUGym does?
Yeah, no worries. So PayAsUGym is a marketplace for access to gyms. We're a lifestyle and fitness brand. We try and make accessing gyms, whether it's one gym, multiple gyms, much more flexible than the incumbent long-term contract model that's there right now. We make it a lot easier. We're a tech solution, just like Deliveroo. Raised about 15 million to date. Team size just over 40, growing 100% in the last year. We're aiming to keep 100% growth for the next 3 years. Based in London, UK business at the moment. We haven't gone beyond London at the moment. And yeah, that's a quick intro. Excited about being here.
Thank you, Jamie. And what about you, Mark?
Hi guys, this is Mark Coate. So I'm the CEO and co-founder of Supahands. We're a business that helps other companies across the globe enrich their data using a hybrid system of human and machine. So our clients are generally technology companies who need help putting structure around unstructured data. We're based out here in Malaysia with about 35 enthusiastic guys in the office. We've got a cloud-based curated workforce called the Super Agents. We've got about 2,500 of them across Southeast Asia working on our platform.
Cool. Well done. Thank you, Mark. And James.
Hi, yeah, so I'm the CEO and founder of Cognism. So we're a B2B sales intelligence company. We've basically have offices in London. I'm actually in the London office right now, though I'm actually living in Zurich and working from London. And we have teams in Skopje in Macedonia and Croatia. We have about 150 clients at the moment, and have got to around just over like 2.4 million in revenue, and grown really rapidly in the last year, really, from I went around 6 employees to the numbers we have now.
Got it. Well done. So quite amazing. And yeah, let's start with the first main topic inside Align life and business goals. So how important it is to manage yourself as your company scales, and how much do you need to transform yourself from the startup stage to the scale-up stage? So the majority of your businesses now have almost 40 people. I assume in your case, James, what is the head count? Sorry, I didn't get it.
Yeah, no, we're hitting around about 50 people now. Yeah.
So you are almost all of you around the same stage in terms of size of company. So yeah, what are you feeling about the transformation that you are going through during this stage? Maybe we can start by you, James, this time.
Yeah, so for me, what's really been important has been to delegate away a lot of my work. So pretty much trying to fire myself from different roles and then hand them off to different people has been really important. And to get a balance, more of a balance in my life. I mean, of course, when you start and you're wearing the many hats, it's really hard to get any sort of a balance, because you've got so much to do and there's so many problems you're working on. And now I'm getting to a stage where there's more people I can trust, or I'm able to now hire more people as we have more funding, we have more revenue, and then I can a little bit gain a bit back of time, and then start to find more of a balance between, I have more of a work-life balance, a slightly more, but of course it's not the same as it was when I was in a 9-to-5 job at a big corporate, and I don't think I'll ever go back to that. I don't know if I could survive if it went back to that, but for the sake of family and for your own mental health and everything else, it's great to have some sort of a balance and have time for your family.
Got it. Yeah, sometimes we talk a lot in business about time management, but very few about energy management. And sometimes there are hours that are consume so much energy, and that are a lot of hours that consume very few energy. For instance, if we are looking for numbers that are not matching in some important moments of our company, this could drain all of our energy away. So Jamie, in your case, how is your role evolving from the startup stage to the scale-up stage now?
So to me, startup stage is about trying to find a product that works, the product market fit. And once you find that, it's about scaling it up. So for probably the last year or so, we've just been focused on scaling. And I suppose the big change is, like James said, I was involved with absolutely everything, product design, UX, absolutely, every part of the business. And the change came for me about, there's two sides actually. One side was about finding the right senior management team to bring it forward. We had probably gaps of 4 people which I needed to bring in. And I spent a lot of time making sure we got the right people. But before we got the right people, we needed to take a step back and think about what business we wanted to build. So, these were, you could say it's the culture of the business, but I think culture is quite a limiting word in that sense. We had to think about the values, we had to think about the organizational design, and we had to think how we wanted to train and develop people. And then when you have you can go so far with that, and then with that understood, you then find what type of people you're trying to employ, which I think is important. Don't employ the people, then try to build the business, the culture of the business. So my time is probably 50% on finding the right people. That's winding down a little bit now because I've got some good people in. And the other half is really focused on the culture of the business. and embedding that culture. It's a lot of hard work to embed a culture, whether it's, you know, the values that you live by, whether it's the message, whether it's your organizational design, whether it's your training, whether it's progression management. There's a lot of stuff that way more than I ever believed there was. So, yeah, I mean, my job's moved a lot onto that, just making sure, you know, we have the foundations of a business. Now we want to build the house, and the house takes it's hard work making sure the structure is right. And I think it was, I suppose, a little bit of a wake up call for me when we started to scale the business and realized how much work we needed to do before we could scale. But it's good. I actually really enjoy it. You know, it's a new job almost. You know, one was real product focused, pushing sales teams, etc. And now it's about really, building that business properly.
Yeah. It's very interesting what you just said, all the work that we need to do in order to prepare the company to scale. So one of the main reasons of startup failure is premature scaling. So sometimes we are not ready yet to scale, and we start scaling. So Mark, how do you feel when it's the right timing to scale, and how is it going for you during these years?
Yeah, it's been super hectic for us, and you know, right, you said the roles changed a lot over the years. You know, from when we first launched the business, yes, I was involved in most things within the organization. I still am, but I think what we've been doing really well would be to look for really good guys, putting the right people in the right seats. I think that's the key thing we did when we raised the first couple of rounds. So I think that was really helpful. I still like getting my hands dirty, so I still do a lot of sales for the organization. It's something I really enjoy, and that's a good way for me to sort of meet people and connect with different people and to understand what else is happening on the ground within the clients that we target. So I like to do that. But like Jamie said, you know, you spend a lot of time working on things like you know, culture. So putting things on paper, making sure it's standardized, having clear communication, talking about the vision, talking about the mission, things that you don't think about in the early stage, and now it's becoming really important because the guys are going, oh yeah, you know, what's the communication? What's the story that we're all supposed to sing? And how do you keep that aligned within the whole organization? So, you know, we run a interesting organization where we've got guys in the office as well as a community of workers across on the cloud. That means how do you get this culture from the internal culture into the external culture? I think that's always a bit more of a challenge. So using technology to help us to achieve that is quite key. So yeah, so spending a lot of time with culture, you know, identifying problems, going within different teams, trying to see what gaps we've got and how do we fill those gaps. So I'm generally a problem solver within the organization as well.
And how do you approach goal setting around your life goals? Are you a fan of setting goals for your life as you do for your business? And do you make yourself accountable toward your team or another peers? Is this something that you have done in the past or that you are thinking about doing in the future?
Yeah, for me, I do set my goals, and it's something I've always done, I guess in the early days as well. It's odd, you know, I put it down never thinking it'd be so important, and then now it's, you know, I constantly have to go back and keep reflecting on that. Do I share that with the team? I think I do with certain members of the team, but I know that I should do that more so with the overall organization, because connecting life goals to business goals, I think it's quite important. It helps to drive not just myself, but the organization and the different guys in the team as well, to help to, you know, achieve the vision or achieve the business goals. You can align it, then there's a different type of motivation. It's not a monetary thing, but you know, it's a energized feeling to want to achieve those goals.
Yeah, and guys, feel free to jump on instead of being myself, asking each of you one thing or another. If you want to contribute something, please feel free to.
I was just going to say, Mark's goal's doing an Ironman at the minute, so that's pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
Setting yourself big goals there. I like that.
Yeah, I was going to say on my side, yeah, I'm accountable to my wife, so she's quite good at kind of steering me, steering to what I actually have to do at home, and the goals for the kids. So she takes that on that challenge, and then yeah, myself, I've also set challenges, like I'm doing a half marathon in 2 weeks just to stay fit. I think it's important to have, so you do challenges like that to just so you have a focus, because you can just get lost in the work. You always do. You have 100 things coming in. And the only other thing I would say, like you talked about, like appointing key people. Like I think a big evolution that we've done, which is helping us scale a lot right now, is first of all making sure that I've got time with all those key people that I've hired. So that I've got like one-on-ones, but not just one-on-ones. I also break away and go on breaks with those people, so I can really get to know them and then spend time with them and get have headspace to actually sit down and think about the problems that we've got and come up with ideas, rather than just dealing with the operational side of things, but have time for strategic planning. And then the other thing that we've done is got mentors. So all of us have mentors, like people who have, I've just got a mentor who's a serial entrepreneur now, M&A specialist, and then every one of my key people now has a mentor that's been through the scaling challenge before. And I think that's really helping us get really good advice and helping us avoid speed bumps. So I think those are important parts of the next stage, and about how to keep the balance, so that you're not just batting off operational problems all the time, but you actually got strategy about how where you're going.
So something that I usually face, and I'm sure that for some of you want to implement this in a more radical way, depends on the culture that we all want to print in our companies. It is talking about our life goals. Doesn't matter for business, or it might be a little bit intrusive. So we got some resistance when we are discussing in some of the ScaleUp workshops that we run. Okay, so life plan is something that we should not touch in our discussions here. So let's talk about business and go away of life. This is something that is about my life. It's not about yours, and you should not ask nothing about my life. So how do you feel about this? At what point should we go, and at what point should we stop? And do you feel this resistance in the team, or this is something that you really want to separate life and business in your business?
Well, for me, I don't. Sorry, go ahead, Jamie.
So I was just going to say that we wouldn't go necessarily into life goals as individual goals, but what we really focus on is time, making sure that the time balance is right. So the way I kind of look at it, and the way I like my team to look at it, we've got this constant life balance, which is, for me, is work, family, fun, and fitness. And getting that balancing right is really, really tough. And we talk about it a lot in our business. Our business is about flexibility to people get fitness. So we talk about this balance. And the balance is fundamentally wrong for a lot of people. Work for me is kind of 50% of my life, and then the other 50% is family, fun. By the way, family and fun don't have to be mutually exclusive. They can be together. And that fitness side, I'm just making sure when I look back at a week or a month that we're fitting that in. So in our business, we do things like Thursdays, everyone has a couple of hours extra off during lunchtime for fitness. And we try and make sure that we take a flexible approach to work so that we can help them balance their life out as much as possible. I have a fundamental belief that if your life is balancing out, then you're happy, you're going to be happy at work, and you're going to be delivering your best. So it's more around the structure and how we operate, rather than really trying to understand everybody's individual life goals or my own life goals. That's personal to me, or it's you can't manage that as a business, but it's making sure everyone has enough time to actually do what they need to do in both sides of the equation. And then I think, if that works, they're going to be bringing the most to when they come into the office and do their work.
Yep, got it. Mark, you were saying something?
Yeah, no, I was just, I'm going to echo very similar to Jamie as well. It's definitely, work-life integration. I don't think, I think about work-life balance where I set specific time or have that break or, a set time for everything. I think it's, when I'm cycling or when I'm doing training for the Ironman, I think essentially, I still think about work. I don't segregate that. When I'm networking or when I'm writing, I'm still, there's always work discussion. In the office, people know the goals that I'm sort of working towards, and I think we all support each other, in those things. So I think that's quite important. And rightly said, if they're happy at home, they're going to be pretty happy at work too, with high energy levels, which is what we always gun for.
James, would you like to add something?
I mean, in general, yeah, we have an emphasis on, I suppose in our company, there is the fitness piece as well. So we have a gym, and encourage people to do that. I try to encourage my employees to join me on this half marathon, for instance, and just get that balance. The other thing is just celebrating all our wins. So it's something I didn't have when I was in a corporate. It's just when anybody achieves something, or we hit goals, we celebrate as a company. We go out, we have entertainment budgets, we spend that to enjoy ourselves. And I think the other big thing is people join a startup to accelerate their careers. I mean, you have an opportunity in a startup growth company and scale-up company to go a lot further and a lot faster in your career than you would in a corporate, where you're just joining and becoming another cog in the machine, and you sit in a role, and you'll get promoted after 2-3 years. So actually, that aspect of the is important, that people see their careers accelerating really fast as well, and then that gives them inspiration, and that gives them energy, because they see their career moving a lot faster than their peers. So that is another aspect, I think, that's important in our world, to get that kind of energy in people.
One thing, just to sort of chirp in here, I always like to think of employees as more than just their job titles. And I encourage corporations to think about that, because what is outside of that job title is actually what will tend to make them human. And that's what helps to connect them with other employees. And if they're an outside facing, helping them to really connect with those potential clients, potential customers. So we've all been in situations where, yeah, you meet somebody and they're a sales rep, great. But then you find out that they have kids, they like fishing, and they like cycling. You're like, oh my gosh, let's talk. And now you're connected. So I feel that the business connection is in really letting people be who they are at work, and that is that is outside of the job title. So it's interesting, because there's this hesitancy to say, look, your work and your life, but sometimes where your life is what makes you human, and that's what helps to connect, to make you the best salesperson available, or to help you work through conflict with a coworker. I like that human element that's brought in.
Got it.
Yeah, I just add there, right? I mean, if you're in a scale up, then your employees are probably going to go through a lot more stress than they would in a normal corporate role, because they're getting thrown tons of new clients at themselves. The technology is evolving. It's not the same as being in a corporate where there's set volumes of work that somebody has to deal with. The volume is changing, the equation is changing all the time, and they're under a lot more pressure. And usually, I don't know about the other companies, but for ourselves, a lot of the staff are graduates, and so it's their first job. And so they as you're learning as a company, they're learning as graduates as well. So you really need to, I think, spend time to get to know them as well, and then help them with that pressure element, and help them with that as much as you can with that work-life balance, and to take the kind of stress away from the role, which is a naturally stressy role, right? In a scale-up.
Yep. And in the beginning, we, as part of the leadership team, we are the ones that are the most concerned or dedicated to assure that ourselves and our leadership team is fulfilling their life goals, and everything is aligned with their business goals, and everyone is happy, because we believe that they have a better performance if they are. But in a certain moment of your company, especially from now on, you'd start to help your leadership teams to do the same with their middle management. And so how do you plan to help them to manage themselves and at the same time to lead their teams in a way of perpetuating this culture of aligning life and business goals? How do we cascade? How do we assure that this culture keeps moving forward as the company grows?
Just one point on that to kick off, and I think it's from the very start. You know, if this is important to you as a business and development and managing life goals along with work goals and having that balance and control, you really need to recruit the people that are passionate about that also. And I've personally, I find that really spending the time on understanding my leadership team as I've been recruiting them massively helps when it comes down to how they're managing their own businesses. I need to make sure that they are passionate about what they would do in their own life and how they will manage their own teams. And actually, it's become a little bit easier. Yes, there always has to be, you have to create a structure around that, you have to create a budget around it. But as long as you have people who are actually passionate about making that happen, I think it will make it happen.
Got it. Mark, James?
Yeah, I think leading by example. So as long as I try to tie up my life goals and business goals, live very much a balanced lifestyle where I work hard and play hard. I think that should trickle down into the rest of the team, and always encouraging them to do the same. I think at Supahands we're pretty good at that. We have a great organization with great team members. The leadership team really enjoys the work. They're super enthusiastic about what we're trying to achieve, but yet at the same time, under all that stress, they still find time to travel, do their sport, and achieve their different things.
Yeah, I can say yes. I have observed this. It's overwhelming, the response, and angry to learn. It's incredible. James.
Yeah, adding to those things. I mean, for me, it's also important to keep kind of a completely open communication culture. Like I've tried to make sure that the company doesn't get too hierarchical, and that the leadership, I can only communicate to the leadership that I put in place. But I have like a good communication and good relationships with everybody still at this stage. And I think at the 50 people level, you can know everybody and have time for everybody in some way, so that you can actually listen to their, in case there is an issue with leadership and they are a little bit, off track and not in terms of supporting the people under them. So I think it's important that you have an open communication culture, so you can catch problems and to see if that element is falling down, or people are getting too much work, or they're too stressed in their role. So I think that's also a critical element of making sure you get the balance right.
Something that came to my mind for our audience is to use the employee NPS to manage the quality of the leadership team. So it might be a good way to check if everything is in place or not, and what needs to be improved in order to be more effective leading the company. Cool. I think that we are. Yeah.
I was just going to say, we do that as well, but I found that sometimes doesn't always catch the issues, and actually having a quiet drink with somebody does a better job of that. So it's good to have like a good set of relationships with everybody in the company, so that people feel that you as a CEO are open and approachable, and that you don't build an iron wall behind your leadership team. I think that's really important, because I've seen that at a lot of companies I worked at, where the CEO just wasn't approachable at all. And didn't want to be approached by employees. So I think that's a big mistake.
Got it.
There's a tool, just quick one, called Tiny Pulse, if anybody's heard of it or used it before. It's pretty effective to monitor employee happiness. It's not just NPS, so there is NPS in it, but there's lots of different questions, and you can feed in questions. You can celebrate success. You could give cheers out for other staff and other members of staff, and then you can use the questions that are brought up in a monthly team meeting and sort of respond to any things. But I agree, drinks are always good. Not always scalable, but unless you want to kill your liver. But Yeah, Tiny Plus, have a look out for it. We've used it. It's a pretty good fact.
Perfect. Thanks for sharing some tools to be used. And yeah, before we go, would like to ask each of you what would be the final or the advice that you would give to your younger self if you have the opportunity to give it. So what do you think you should have done better, or you could have done it better 3 or 4 years ago, in, of course, related with aligning life and business goals? Mark, it seems that you are quite ready. Oh no, James thinks, I don't know. James is ready, it seems.
No.
Not yet.
I would say for me, I wish I'd started my company earlier, startup earlier, because this is a lot better than corporate life. In general, yeah, just to get that. Well, I mean, it at the start, it's really difficult to get any sort of work-life balance. I think you and your family need to be prepared for the fact that it is very difficult to get work-life balance at the beginning, but that you can build it, probably that 2-year stage. Once you're 2 years in, it can start to build it in better. But it's it's a huge commitment doing a new business, and you have to be prepared for that huge commitment.
Mark.
Yeah. Probably to identify goals earlier, the values of the business, the vision, the mission, identifying culture, putting it down on paper, sharing that with the organization, not just holding it to yourself. I think these are things which we only recently did and found that these are super important and so valuable in terms of helping us grow the business and to scale the team as well. So I think that's something I would do.
Super interesting. Jamie.
Yeah, I just think one thing which I personally haven't done as well over the years, which I know now, it's just communication. I have this sort of weird thing in my head that I think when something's going on in my head, I think everybody else understands it, and it's taken me a while to realize that they don't. And now I realize it takes a lot of time and effort to communicate in the right way so everybody's on the same page. The opposite used to happen where I'd go, why don't you understand this? I mean, surely we're all on the same page. And it took me a while to realize that's my fault. It's nobody else's fault. A bit better at it nowadays, but I could have done that 5 years ago.
Very, very interesting. I think that this is a common one for all of us. It's avoiding to repeat ourselves too much because we believe that everyone is almost tired of hearing the same thing. And usually they are not. So yeah, repeat more times what you are thinking. Thank you so much, Jamie, Mark, and James. But before we move, we need to get back the word to Ryan.
Well, thank you. Well, this is a fun conversation. And Jamie, speaking of communication, I believe that the 4 words that you pulled out and communicated to the group is what the whole recap is. It's essentially, how do you figure out this balance? And it's work, family, fun, and fitness. And what a great set. But something else that was said is that the thing about fitness is that you have to fit it in. And I like this idea that you have to be flexible. And I'm looking at fitness as a whole new way. So if we take work-life balance as fitness, which is finding the time to fit in the work, the fun, the family, the fitness, the play, all while being flexible. So I think that the idea of a scale up and a startup, you've got extra pressure on you. So it's extra important to communicate with your employees, find out what makes them tick, what makes them human, what makes them excited about what they're doing, so that they are more than just a job title, but that they're happy at work. Because we all know a miserable person at work is not going to add to the bottom line. So to the original question, does a balance between life and business add to the bottom line? It does. It will either add or subtract. So I think that it's a good reminder that we should all be a little bit more fit in trying to fit in and be flexible when it comes to these things, so that there is truly balance. And that will hopefully help the balance sheet. If you are out there and you're listening to this, I suggest contact to these gentlemen. If I give myself advice for a younger age, it would be connecting with more people like this more often earlier. The idea of mentorship is huge because dealing with people who have gone through it before, the heroes with the capes, that's how we really succeed. So I appreciate you guys joining us from all around the world. Check out more of these things on ScaleUpAcademy.io, and we will see you next week, every week, as we bring people from around the world to basically have a heroic conversation that will move the needle in the direction you want. So I think that's it. If the magical Wizard of Oz can hit the stop button, we will see everyone offline or online soon. Bye.